Hey, what's happening, y'all? So I need to record guitar. Now, there's a lot of different ways to get that done. In fact, I can probably think of around six different ways to record electric guitar through an amp without using a dedicated modeling system like a Helix or a Kemper or Quad Cortex. So, in that situation, what's the best way to go? Should I use my DI box? What about the load box that has a line out and an emulated speaker out? What about the amp that has a emulated speaker out from it? Or using a trusty old Shure SM57 or my Slate ML2? There's so many different options. What's going to work best? I don't know. But it's only one way to find out. You silly mutt. Here's the problem, or at the very least, the question that I would like to get answered. I was looking at my tube amp over here and all the equipment I've got, and I realized there is a plethora of options as far as getting the sound from your amp into your DAW. For me, it's been so easy to plug into my DI box, route from there a clean signal to my audio interface, and then use the throughput to the amp and just mic up an amp and get to work. So eventually, my curiosity has now gotten the better of me. And I want to know what they sound like. I want to know, are any of these extra options even usable? I did a basic setup so that I could make sure that I was able to record um, from all the sources simultaneously and just get set up for the experiment. But I didn't actually do the whole thing, then go back and like redo it for the video. So we all get to discover this together. Seems pretty cool to me. But anyway, so what I've done is I've set up a Pro Tools session here. Um, so for the DI, because I've got a DI box where I'm going straight into the guitar, and it is the throughput is going to the amp, and then the output is going into the audio interface to get a clean signal. I'm using the THU plugin to simulate an amp. Now the amp I'm using, let me move this over here. So the amp I'm using is my Marshall DSL40CR, so a little Marshall combo amp. That's a tube amp. So I found this, which is modeled after the JCM 900. It's not exact, but it is a Marshall, and then a speaker modeled after classic Marshall 412 cab with the 57 on it. And I created three instances of that, one for with a clean setting, one with a crunch setting, and one with an ultra setting. I've also got tracks for the load box line out, the load box speaker emulated out, the speaker emulated out coming out of the Marshall, and then I've also mic'd up the amp with a Shure SM57 and an ML2. The 57 is pretty much straight on axis. The ML2 is turned a little ways. Everything is running through this Submaster, which just has a little like 1 to 2 dB of compression. And yeah, so that's what we've got. We've got everything running all at the same time. Three different DI channels. We've got the load box line out, the load box speaker emulated out, the Marshall amplifier speaker emulated out, the SM57, and the ML2. I don't have any EQs or anything applied to these. So aside, even in the ML2, you'll see the virtual mix rack up here. It's just modeling the modern SM57, saying that it's fairly close to the speaker, just to kind of place it similar to where the SM57 is. Then we've got the torpedo wall of sound on the torpedo load box line out. And I'm just saying that it's a 57 on a British vintage cabinet, fairly close to the speaker. You'll see there is a one band EQ on that channel as well. That's just on there to apply a phase reverse, because I was noticing some phasing issues between the real mics and that load box signal. So let's see what we can get here. Let's try this again, this time with a crunch setting. Let's see what we get here. That should be good enough. So this is our DI. All right, so let's go to the load box line out. Let's see what we get from the load box speaker emulated out. Okay, what about the Marshall amps speaker emulated out? All right, what about our trusty old Shure SM57? Okay, what about our ML2? And this is one of the things I love this combo together. Bridge those together. Yeah, that sounds great. And then what I love about the ML2, and this isn't really what we're checking or measuring, but we're here, so why the heck not? So we could do something like put a 121 on it. All right, then we'll see what that sounds like. Okay, let's start on the 57. See, I think that sounds pretty good. See, and it's not that like the DI or the load box line out sound bad. Like I think the speaker emulated outs both sound just kind of bad. French DI. Increase the drive a little bit. All right. And load box line out. Well, that's got a lot more grit to it. What about our speaker emulated out? What about the Marshall speaker emulated out? on to the 57. Let's see what the ML2 sounds like. Oh, might help if I move this back to 57. Let's try it. Yeah, not particularly flattering there either. What if we blend the two? That doesn't sound half bad. With some EQing, that could really be usable. So having the DI here also gives you a little bit of flexibility where if you did want to, pull the drive back on that quite a ways and mix it in and blend it. You can do some cool stuff with that. Okay, so now to load box line out. Load box, speaker emulated out. So the Marshall amp speaker emulated out. Mud City. Now you combine them, you can get something that's maybe usable, but let's see. Let's check out our 57. All right, what about our ML2? It's very dark compared to the 57. But let's listen to them blended. Yeah, that pairing, and between the two of them, now, just because we tried this on Crunch, let's try mixing in the DI. See, that's not half bad. Yeah, didn't care for that much at all. There's something else I would like to try. And that is, what if, so we've got our DI tracks here. What if I remove that speaker emulation and we use the torpedo one? Okay. See, that already sounds a lot better. Interesting. All right. Now, what if we stack the speaker emulations? Ooh, that actually sounds really nice. A little bit. Yeah, the two different speaker emulations on top of each other. While not exactly what I would initially think about doing, actually sounds pretty daggum good. Here, let's even do this. We'll go. Yep, those three together, and using the torpedo wall of sound after the THU is very pleasant. I am pleasantly surprised. So in general, I kind of felt like the live mics were the best choice. Of course, there is a trade-off with that because you do have to be in a space where um, you can pump out some noise out of a speaker and where you have room to set up some mic stands and some microphones. And you do have to be able to take the time to kind of adjust your positioning and get the mics where you want them. However, that gives you a lot of tonal flexibility because you can adjust the mic position wherever you want, um, and really dial in exactly the sound you want. In a second to that, I felt like the DI was probably the next best option. I didn't necessarily get as much musical energy through that. Um, but because you do have a clean signal and it's really easy to capture while sending the throughput to your amp. So if you've got enough channels on your interface, why wouldn't you do that anyway? Um, and if nothing else, then to have a backup in case something goes wrong with the other two tracks, or you play back later and realize your mic position was totally terrible. That gives you a little bit extra flexibility. So I think getting that DI track as well is definitely a must. Um, as far as the load box line out, like if I had everything, or since I already have everything all set up to where I could just leave everything plugged in, sure, why not? Do I feel like with my other options that is particularly extra beneficial? No, not necessarily. I could do without that. Same thing with the speaker emulated outs. Like there was a couple situations where blending those two together would have given a decent tone, or where adding one or the other into the live microphones could have changed the tone significantly enough that it was worth checking out. But in general, you know, it wasn't a make or break situation. Like with two microphones and a DI, boom, like could pretty much get any kind of sound we wanted. But those are my thoughts. That's just me. If I'm going through and I'm doing this test to decide how I want to set up my permanent rig, so that I can plug and play whenever I want, those are the things that I feel like I need to have in place. I need to have a 57, I need to have an ML2, and I need to be running through a DI. But those three tracks, whatever the job is, I can get the job done. But what do you guys think? take a listen through things, put your evaluation in the comments, or better yet, do your own test. Send me the results, post in the comments, or send me an email. I would love to hear what you guys come up with and what you think about how to get good tones. So anyway, that's been it for this video. Be sure to check out the links in the description. Visit the website, audiomuttstudios.com. If you'd like to support the channel, make sure you stop by and get you some merch. Be sure to check that out, audiomuttstudios.com/merchandise, and pick out something that you'd like. And if you're not already following us on the other social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whichever your preferred platform, make sure you jump on there and give us a like and a follow so that you can see what other shenanigans we get into. But anyway, thanks a lot, guys, for tuning in. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Appreciate it. Peace.